Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise.
I have a real soft spot for evil.
Blood flying everywhere.
So good.
I'm a big boy who doesn't get scared.
Out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Sup, Chuddle Club members. Welcome to Chuddle the Pod, your friendly neighborhood more horror movie club.
Yeah.
More horror club.
That was almost so good.
It was almost so good, but we're where horror movie lovers have a feel-good time. We always keep it spoiler-free here at the top, and, we'll let you know when the spoilers are headed your way, as we like to say, all day. Now, I'm not here by myself, but before I'm even not here by myself, I'm here to Chuddle. Hush. That's to both of you. Don't say anything yet.
Huh?
Brian, go ahead.
Hush.
Bruce?
Hush.
Oh, hey, Ross.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, we are Chuddle and Hush tonight. This is a 100% Chuddle. We haven't done one of these in a while, where it's all Chuddle all the time. Just the three
chuddling
Chuddlemen.
wrong.
So, prepare to get knee deep in goo and say I love you, because we're going to do that. But before we do, we must take this moment to thank our covenant of patrons. Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank your beautiful souls. Now, with all club members present and the covenant avowed, it's time to crack open that goo book and officially begin tonight's meeting.
Give me that goo. Oh, yeah.
Let's do some lines. So starting with our goo line. I took this one from IMDb because it worked enough, I was already there. A deaf and mute writer who retreated into the woods to live a solitary life must fight for her life in silence when a masked killer appears at the window. And that's pretty good. I guess the in silence thing it's not necessary for her to do it in silence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Other than giving away your hiding spot. And then we have toe taglines, which is really just one because that's all there is. Silence can be killer.
Sure.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I don't...
That
is what they went with.
I don't see how that
is what,
applies, really.
100%.
Yeah. Well, also, it kind of applies to the title, too. It's not like Hush really applies that well to this, other than, like, hiding and being quiet, I guess.
I feel like this line was written by a person who didn't watch the movie and just saw the poster with the title of the movie. And that's all they had to go off of.
Well, I have an alternate toe tag line, which is silent but deadly. Gotcha. Got him.
It would be a very different tone, tonally going into this.
Yeah, different movie. If you saw that poster and then saw this, what got into this movie, you'd be like, what the fuck is
It's just
going
about
on?
someone who eats like a bunch of like beans or some shit and then gets their home broken into. So the intruder is always just able to find them because they just hear a...
Or having this woman doing her daily thing and being stalked by a guy who's just crop dusting. So she just smells something.
Following the trails.
That's how she stays one step ahead.
Smell them.
And I have another alternate tagline I got this one from Alien, kind of, but it's when you're mute, no one can hear you scream. Huh?
Because it's true.
It's better than the silence.
That is true too.
That is true too.
I'll take the double truth.
Movies are made by people, and the people that made this movie are. This movie was directed by Mike Flanagan and written by Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel.
And Sam, this is your first introduction to anything that Mike Flanagan's done, right?
That is correct. I've been Flanagan-less. None of the Netflix series, none of his other movies, nothing.
That would be
nothing. As far as I'm concerned, nothing. This movie features Kate Siegel, aforementioned, as the star of the movie, Maddie. We have John Gallagher Jr. as the man, who is actually Gallagher's son, the comedian.
Oh. No,
what do you know?
Not true. That might be true, but I also only just
this fucking guy.
This guy.
Michael. We got Michael Trucco as John, Samantha Sloyan as Sarah, and Emma Graves as Max. Went ahead and gave us everybody because
it's a short
much.
cast.
Well, they could be tall.
Oh, just out the gate.
He's full of it
No.
now.
It's not the only thing I'm full of. I'm
Young,
full of
dumb,
time. Gore. Because it's time.
For gore.
Gore.
Fatality.
Young, dumb, and full of gore. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is this film?
Are we full of
Consistency,
gore?
intensity.
I guess we are, aren't we?
We're all technically
I'm full of gore.
or
Turns out the gore was inside us all along.
I like it.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
nice. Okay, sorry. Where are we at? Rating this on the gore
Gore
score?
meter.
yeah.
Yeah. Give it to me, Brian.
Ooh.
Are you an old man?
Consistency. I mean, meh. A little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe like a 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then intensity, I'll give that like maybe a 2.5 or something like that, because we get a pretty gnarly hit or smash or thing or whatever here or there,
Yeah.
but it's all pretty doable. I don't know. Yeah, I think, what is that, a 4.5? 4.5 sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Ross, lay it on me.
Mine's almost exact. I mean, like I had my consistency's 2, and then intensity. Honestly, I did have it like a 3, because there is a few key ones that get pretty gnarly,
Intense.
So yeah, I think like a 5. I think that's a pretty middle.
Ross, you'll never believe this.
What?
Exactamundo for both. You and I are right. Look at us. Look at us. So if
We
this
didn't
is your
even
first
have to
time
talk to
listening,
each other
Ross
about
and
it.
I have been way off. Like I've been super low and he's been
Super
super
high, yeah.
and, like far apart.
Well, zombies.
and
I think
now-
that's the common denominator. Is a lot of that was zombies.
They were zombie films. That's true. Dope. 4.5, right in that area.
Who is the horror forward?
Starting with subgenres.
Ooh.
Home invasion. Hashtag home invasion.
Home invasion,
We're doing home
baby.
invasion all month.
Yeah, baby.
This is our third one, and we got one more upcoming. That's going to be Mother. Home invasion. I don't know what it... There's not much else I would put this into. It's a quiet film again. We've done a film without a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
This will be our second one
I mean,
Yeah.
in Home
Certainly.
Invasion.
yeah, I would say like the only subgenre that I would do more, but it's a little more of a spoiler. I don't know, like a cat and mouse one where you have like a main villain, main protagonist. Like there's not really a whole lot outside of that. It's like it's kind of more of like a cat and mouse kind of horror.
Very cat and mouse. Very cat and mouse. But I think for Home Invasion, that happens. That's normal.
Totally.
So anyway, I don't think you're spoiling anything by saying that was what I was trying to get at. What kind of environment is best to watch this in? It's a good one to be scared in, I think.
Lights
I will
out.
tell you, headphones, alone in the dark, stoned might not be awesome for you.
Also, this isn't a spoiler for the actual film itself, but I had wearing them with headphones, and that the intro to like the companies and the producing of it is completely silent up until the title card, which happens the first minute. So like I almost blew my fucking eardrums out the first time because I thought there was an audio issue. So I just turned it all the way up, and then it happened. I was like, Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah, that's the first jump scare. The title card.
Right. It gets you right away. I agree.
Yeah. I
Turn the
feel
lights down. Just keep it, moody.
Yeah.
It's certainly not a fun one. Like
It's not Rudy.
watching a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a rowdy one.
It's moody, not Rudy.
Yeah. Exactly. Is it Moody or Rudy? That's it.
Moody or Rudy, bro?
Moody or Rudy, bro?
It's a good segment name. All right. Is it for beginners?
Yes.
Personally, I think it could get too intense, but I don't see why not.
I mean, yes, in the sense if you're into the idea of a home invasion movie, I mean, you know what that is, and in like the horror aspect, especially if you've seen something in those realms as well. I think it's a good one to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good one. I feel though that you may get a little more out of this movie if you get yourself a little more well-rounded with other home invasion movies, because I feel like some of the things that work in this is because you, I don't know, haven't seen it in other ones, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing about this is that, yeah, it is a little bit, I want to say it feels different than some other home invasion movies.
Absolutely.
So I guess getting some under your belt, like you're saying, is could be a good thing.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
if you've watched The Strangers, then I'd say watch this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Strangers.
I've watched that for home invasion month. I've been going weird for home invasion month. It's been a weird month.
It's funny. I did Strangers and then Pray at Night back to back.
I did them back to back. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a very good viewing experience.
It is. I agree.
I'm not watching any home invasion movies outside of what we're doing for the pod.
Ooh, did we finally find the subgenre that you not?
Well, there's a few I know that he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't the only one, but I will say I didn't know that I disliked it until we started doing it.
Yeah. Oh, no, maybe not just like sketched out, because it seemed like you were kind of like,
no, we'll get to it, but it felt mean is what it felt like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, this is just terrible. It's not like
we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't.
Chuddle Harbinger of Doom, fapping in, fap. Trigger warnings. Nothing I can think of. I mean, it's a home invasion movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of what you would think
plot
of
is, I mean, I guess,
going to happen.
Yeah.
The whole movie itself.
Yeah, going in knowing that it's a man stalking a woman that's
alone in a home. Yeah.
Alone in a home.
Who has a disability.
It goes there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just to add to the mean factor. Well, let's buckle up, buckaroo.
Spoiler zone.
Starting with the IMDb behind the scenes. Because the main character is deaf and mute, the film contains less than 15 minutes of dialogue, meaning that more than 70 minutes occur without a single word spoken. It was filmed in 18 days.
Oh.
Not long, but makes sense, given
single location, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Director Mike Flanagan and co-writer / star Kate Siegel are a married couple and conceived the storyline for Hush while on a dinner date in 2014.
That's awesome.
That's cute.
Yeah.
They got married in February of 2016.
All right.
Director Mike Flanagan didn't want the film to be pure silence, so he added various ambient sounds such as an ultrasound machine. I think that means the parts where we have her perspective of not hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I understand. Yeah.
Kate Siegel and Mike Flanagan role-played each scene in their house before writing it down. This enabled them to better envision how the characters would really react.
Kinky.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Also rad.
One of the 3 movies, this is crazy to me, one of the 3 movies directed by Mike Flanagan to be released in 2016, along with Before I Wake and Ouija Origin of Evil.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've seen either of those.
Now, is Ouija the second? That's the sequel, right? To Ouija?
2016 Origin of Evil.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. It sounds like a sequel.
He wrote and directed it.
Again, I haven't seen any Mike Flanagan movies. So.
Oh, very true.
The main character, Maddie, and her sister, Max, are named after Kate Siegel's real-life niece and nephew. There's a quick shot of several books that the main character owns. Among them are Stephen King novels, Revival, Under the Dome, and Mr. Mercedes. Mr. Mercedes apparently is notable because it's about a psycho killer who has, no motive revealed. It's sort of similar. Kate Siegel and Mike Flanagan previously worked together on Oculus in 2013. The book returned to her at the beginning of the movie that her friend gives her is called Midnight Mass, which is a show that Mike Flanagan has since made, starring Kate Siegel.
Yeah, I think she's been in a bunch of his stuff.
Yeah.
If not
the
all
film
of it.
I don't think all of it, because I was looking at some of his other movies, but she's in a ton of them. But I don't think it's like a Sherry Moon situation.
Gotcha.
The film has been remade twice in India, both released in 2019.
What?
Yeah. It has the names. You want to hear them?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Kolayauthir Kalam and that's the Tamil one. Because you know how they have all their different regional stuff. And then Kamoshi is the Hindi one.
Ooh,
that smells like a Patreon exclusive.
Kamoshi, the Patreon exclusive. Sam's like, God damn it.
Great.
Could you imagine this movie and then having a fucking dance interlude or like an entire just grandiose like musical thing in the middle of this?
I'm curious.
I'd
curious.
All right, who picked it? Why in history? This is Ross's pick. Ross, enlighten us.
So I watched this when this first came out, and this is my first exposure to. Well, is it? Maybe Oculus was, to be totally honest with you. It's my first or second Mike Flanagan movie, and this one really hit a chord with me because it flipped a lot of slasher/home invasion things on its head, which I really appreciated the first viewing of this, because there were certain things that happened in this movie that I just had not really seen in other home invasion movies. And it felt, I know how you said like it felt mean, like it felt raw. Like this movie felt raw the first time. Like I was indifferent to, like, it didn't make me feel good or bad, but sometimes in horror movies I don't want to feel good while I'm watching it. Like I feel like sometimes the point of a horror movie sometimes is to like make you kind of just go like, oh. And the first time I saw Hush, literally was like, make him say, I was just, oh God, that was a fucking movie, but in a good way. You know what I mean? Where I was like, God, okay,
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Speak after no Hush, evil. He's rolling out on a fucking golden tank.
Make him say,
I just watched Hush. Made me feel away.
Made me feel that kind
I
of
feel
way.
that too, though.
Yeah.
Had you seen this before, Brian?
Yes. Probably aroundish when it came out. And I think I was going to, it's funny, mimic Ross's story of maybe I had seen Oculus before this.
Yeah.
But I don't think I had put together Mike Flanagan as a thing doing, or
totally.
if I watched this and been like, oh, he did Oculus, or vice versa. But again, it stuck out to me. I think I watched this with my wife and she liked it, or we both enjoyed it for kind of a lot of those same aspects. And that was maybe the last time I had seen it. So it's been a couple of years, but it was one that stuck out in my head as something it felt a little bit different. But we'll get into all the why and the plot points to it specifically. But yeah. And I think that's probably my first Flanagan-ish experience. Yeah, too.
You never forget your first Flanagan.
Because since I've gone on, because I know you don't have, obviously, as you've mentioned a few times now, you don't have a history with Flanagan. But I haven't watched like The Haunting of Hill House or the Bly Manor stuff or any of that. But I have seen the Fall of the House of Usher.
Yes.
That was the other Flanagan that I've really enjoyed.
That's the most recent Netflix one you did, right? Series?
Yes.
That was fantastic.
Yes, and I'm sure he has fucking upcoming shit.
Yeah.
Because, he's making 4 things out of a year.
Yes.
Elliot from E.T. is like, I think one of the main actors.
100%.
He's in it. Katie Siegel's in it, or Kate Siegel. She's in it as well. A whole bunch of it has a fucking great cast in it. I haven't seen In Midnight Mass. That's the other one.
Yeah.
So I'd watch that as well. Right. And that one I liked.
Oh, you have watched that one?
Yeah, I have. That one didn't blow me away for whatever reason.
Yeah. I was,
but you liked it fine, but
I was the same way. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like earth shattering for me, if that makes sense. Like, I think when I watched The Haunting of Hill House, like that was awesome. Like start to finish, like that got me, and that literally was an entire horror spectrum of emotions going through. Like I was fucking laughing at some shit. I was completely horrified. I cried. It was great. It was like a whole cathartic experience for me.
All right. Well, should we talk about this motherfucker?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's put our flannels on.
Our flannels.
I haven't figured it out. There's something with flannel and Flanagan.
Yeah.
That's how the fans are.
Our Flanagans of disbelief.
Or Flanagans of disbelief.
We'll get there. Or we won't.
So, quiet studio credits. Instant title card with a loud sound. Which just made me laugh. I was like, both times I was like, hee hee hee. A woman making dinner at home. We hear all the sound of the food prep, like the sound design while she's like crushing food and chopping it up is really
good.
Yeah, deep depth. It feels, I don't know,
depth to it.
hefty.
Yeah. It sounds like, I don't know, a lot of the Foley work and the audio stuff with this is just super, I don't know, it's just when you get to like this cooking sequence, it's super dense. Like it sounds like they had a bunch of microphones in an empty hallway while making these sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't echo per se, but they just have this like heaviness to them. Also, like the use of the tight shots as well. Like when she's like mashing the garlic and doing all that kind of shit, where it's just super, super close up.
And slowly transition to her perspective, and there's no sound because she's deaf. Her neighbor texts her asking if she can come over. She lets in her cat and greets her neighbor. Sarah is who her neighbor is. She tells Maddie, our main character, that she loves her book and asks how she comes up with the end. Maddie explains it's writer's brain. Any possible outcome is like a movie in her head. It's hard to keep the voice in her head quiet. She lost her hearing at 13, and the voice in her head sounds like her mom.
Yeah.
And this is all being done through some sign language. The neighbor character is trying to be like, no, I'm going to do sign language.
I need to learn
language.
this, which is super fucking rad. Also, I can sense the intoxicating want to do multiple versions of a bunch of shit in her head as cinematography for the entire film, because they bring this up in the beginning. I love the fact that you really only see it visually towards the very end of this movie. As in like the actual endings where like you kind of get like the false kind of like, well, if I do this, I could do this. Well, if I do this, I do this. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that you could. I
think it would have been way more interesting to have it throughout the movie.
See, I'm on the opposite. I really like that they didn't do that and then did it towards the end.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ross. Just in because I kind of almost forgot about it for a second. And then when it came back into play, it's like, what her mom said, writer's brain.
Yeah.
And it always,
exactly. That's why I kind of don't like it.
Of like, what comes up at the ending? Like, how do you figure out the endings? And she specifically said, this is what happens, and we're at the ending. I just thought it was fun and clever, I guess. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people like about it too.
Yeah. Well, we're going to run into this as we go. I hate this movie. So let's go.
Well, I'm glad it had a short runtime.
It did not feel like it. Her friend Sarah missigns something, which makes Maddie laugh because she's like learning how to
storyteller and kisser.
Uh-oh, fire alarm in the house. It's loud and the light flashes bright. It's loud enough for Maddie to the reason why it's so loud is because Maddie needs to be able to feel the vibrations to wake up,
which is super fucking loud.
Yeah, and it's like strobes because that's the
like
the visual aid. Maddie's cat has run away because of the alarm, but Maddie's not worried. She calls the cat an independent bitch,
and I just like the fact that the cat is named bitch.
Yep.
Ross, I think we have another Willy's Wonderland
situation
happening.
Sarah invites Maddie for dinner with her and her husband, but Maddie has to work, on her story. Sarah leaves Maddie, and Maddie ignores a text from someone named Craig who thought of her today. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Sarah hears voices in her head as she struggles to write. She decides to FaceTime Craig, but immediately hangs up and ignores his call back. She then starts cleaning up her kitchen. Sarah appears at the door, bloody and distraught, screaming, "Maddie, please see me." And she gets an arrow in her back.
I absolutely fucking love this scene where like she's just mundanely cleaning up while something horrific is happening behind her, but she can't hear it. So like all of these pleas and shit like that. Also, rewinding. She's got 7 different endings to her novel that she's working on simultaneously, which I think is just madness. Like I thought it was like, oh, it's like writer's brain. And then I look at her tab log and I was like, there's 7 different endings you're working on at the same time. You're a maniac. But yeah, no.
I agree with you, Ross. About the 7 different ending things, I never thought about it that hard, but being like, I guess finishing a story, I never really did have 7 different drafts of something. That's nuts.
7 different fucking drafts.
At the end, just like,
oh my God.
But I do like, I don't know, the brutality of the scene of her not being like, of what's going on outside and not seeing it. Yeah. Like you mentioned.
And just like her being attacked, it's just so fucking raw. And Sarah, the actor who plays Sarah, is fucking awesome. Like this is hard to watch. And I think it doubles up because like it's hard to watch because one of the characters is literally like not seeing it, you know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, it just ramps it up more for me when I was watching it for the first time, where I'm like, oh my God, turn around. Oh my God, turn around. This is one of those movies where I actively was yelling at the screen the first time around, that I was like, God, behind you.
Sure.
So a guy in an emotionless white mask comes up and starts stabbing Sarah. He's making a show of it, trying to bang her body against the door so that Maddie will look over. But, he doesn't know she's deaf, so she doesn't look over. And I would agree, there's a good use of using, if you're going to make her deaf, have her miss things because of it.
Yes.
Great. They don't do that much, but this is a time where they do, because we'll get into it, but I really would have loved a time where she accidentally was loud and didn't know it.
Right.
Like knock something over. Gee, for God's sake. All right.
I do like
Craig calls again and she ignores it again. Yeah,
I was going to say, I really do like, as when he finishes off Sarah and then he just stares at her and then he starts knocking at he's like literally knocking at the door to her as she's just completely, and he's like, what the fuck? And like, I think like, I like the fact that he's perplexed, as in like, wait, what? Okay, hold on. And then kind of like proceeds to break into the house.
Mm-hmm. Maddie returns to her computer to write. We see the man slip in the house behind her. He makes noises again, appearing to test her, but she doesn't respond still. Her sister FaceTimes her, and he quickly steps out of frame from behind her. While on the call with her sister's like, come stay with me. You shouldn't be isolated. The man takes Maddie's phone off a table. And the sister's like, oh, I thought I saw something behind you. And she's like, must be my cat. It ran off earlier. I'll go find him. So she starts looking around for her cat. She gives up her search and goes back to writing when she gets a message from her own phone.
Bum, bum, bum.
The call is within the house. One thing interesting with this, they use a lot of the technology, for communication at the time. And for an 11-year-old movie, none of it's dated, you know what I mean? It's still all just like texting on FaceTime.
Oh, totally. Especially with having like a house in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It does. That made it really interesting. It's also what a unique way of revealing yourself, by taking photos, because you knew that this Apple laptop would mirror your messaging system. So like having it and then having it underneath there where it's like, I've stolen your phone, because you don't know your phone's gone, but now I'm going to send you photos to yourself of yourself. Mm-hmm. That's just,
Yeah, it's very creepy. So yeah, pictures of herself sitting at her computer is what's happening. And when she was walking around the house and stuff, this leads to her. Then she looks and sees the picture is currently where she is, and where it would have been taken from is from an open door. So she starts creeping around, and there's a big reveal. She finally sees our killer. He's just standing there, and then races to the door, but she gets to it just before it and locks it just in time. Then they start sort of racing from door to door to lock them. Yeah. And she rushes to her computer to call 911, but the power is cut just before the call gets through. No more Wi-Fi.
Bum, bum, bum.
No Wi-Fi.
As she tries to connect to a neighbor's Wi-Fi, the killer also tries to, but sees it needs a password.
So he's like, whew, thank God.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, exactly. We get a little slight break in action. Killer starts stabbing the tires out of Maddie's car. Maddie grabs some lipstick and writes a message on one of the thousands of windows in her home. She steps back and points a flashlight at the message. He walks up and reads it. It reads, "Won't tell, didn't see face, boyfriend coming home." And his reaction is to step back and take his mask off to show his face.
I know a lot of people hate this scene. and I've just read so many reviews of just the idea of hating this. I fucking absolutely love this scene, because I think in a lot of slashers, especially masked slashers, the entire idea of being anonymous, like that's the whole purpose of it. So like when you reveal yourself, specifically like fucking was this 15 minutes, 20, like maybe 20 minutes into the movie, like it completely changes it.
Yeah, right around there.
Because initially when you see him kill Sarah, it feels like I'm like, okay, I'm getting into like this weird home invasion slasher. And then he takes his mask off and you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't know. It just completely changed the landscape, because now it's just an unmasked psychopath trying to break into your home instead of this anonymous boogeyman that we're so used to. Because I think in a lot of respects, like slashers with masks dehumanize the killer in a lot of respects, because then it's just like this monster. But this guy revealing himself, being like, no, now you fucking have seen my face. So this is going to happen, whether you like, it's that like, this is going to happen whether you want to or want to play or don't want to play. You know what I mean? And like the gravity of that situation, just the first time I saw that hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, fuck, this is so heavy.
Yeah. I also, he takes it off and he says, you've seen it now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like, what
can you read lips?
So what are you going to do?
That's like
yeah. But, I don't love it, because I don't fucking love anything about this movie, but I do like this part for the reasons you said. You know what I mean? I like that his reaction is to, I think that's scary to be like, oh, you didn't see my face? Here it is. Like, I'm going to come fucking get you. That's
At
good.
what point were you turned off from the movie at this point on your first? What point were you turned off? Immediately or?
Right about here. Right about
Interesting.
here.
What?
When he,
well, yeah, I'm curious.
Well, the next thing he says when he's like, I can come in anytime I want, but I'm not going to. I'm going to like make you wish you were dead. And that's when I'm going to come in.
You're going to ask for death.
He's like, great. So I'm just going to watch this guy torture this girl for an hour. This is going to be awesome. Like,
sure. But I don't feel like that's what happens. I mean,
I didn't know
yes,
that
it
yet.
does. Well, sure.
Yeah. I completely understand where
I'm just saying on my first watch,
totally.
If you're asking when I turned it off,
yeah.
because this happened and I turned it off shortly after this.
Gotcha.
Well, I gotta ask you this. If you were expecting a Martyrs thing to happen, but then you've got the rest of this movie, I know you don't like the movie, but were you more pleasantly surprised of this versus like just...
No, because it's still just mean-spirited, like the whole thing, in a Martyrs type of way. It just doesn't go that far, obviously,
yeah.
But to me, it has that same feel to it. And also, apparently, I just don't like home invasion movies. I've seen a few and was never like, oh, I hate these, until I started having to do them for this. And it's mostly this one of what we've done, but I haven't seen a lot of them, and I think maybe just subconsciously I was just like, well, I'm, not interested in it.
Yeah.
So he says he's going to do all that. I'm going to come in. You'll wish you were dead. He leaves her alone to deal with her situation. She tools up, grabs a butcher knife and a hammer, finds a place to hide when she sees the shadow of someone knocking on the window. And the bad guy is using the neighbor's corpse to knock on the window. And that's when I turned it off. I was like, I don't want to fucking watch this. Like, I want to enjoy my evening.
That's hilarious. I laughed.
Well, I think it's really...
I was like, this is a bad man.
It's like, this is a really bad dude. Holy shit. Well, first time watching this, and then it was one of those really weird ones, because like I'm thinking that like he's just going to try to jimmy the window and then try to go through, and then you have that slopped hand just hitting the fucking window, and then you realize he's just propped this woman up. Is
right.
Yeah.
So it's like, if this is the first thing he does after he just made that threat, like, I don't need to keep watching this tonight. And of course, though, there's not, I would say, goes down from here. It doesn't stay ratcheted up to that level.
It's also a low body count movie. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Mhm.
he's only got, this isn't like a slasher where you've got 17 teenagers.
Right, it would be,
you know what I mean?
Psychologically him messing with
totally.
her more is what I
Well,
was
it's just he has less
expecting.
props for his prop comedy. You know what I mean? Like he's only going to be able to use the dead neighbor at least once or twice, maybe, and then that's going to fizzle
Before
out.
it gets old.
It loses
Like,
its
It does,
effect,
yeah.
Exactly. It's like, oh, dead neighbor again? Jesus
God.
Christ. Come up with something new, guys.
So that's knocking, and she decides to hide in a different room.
Yeah.
She cries, but suddenly remembers her neighbor put her phone in her back pocket. So she's like, I can get it off her corpse. But first she's got to set off her car alarm as a distraction. So we get a little tense scene of her trying to get closer and closer to set that off. Success.
That struggle is so goddamn real. I don't know about you, but I try locking my car from my house to not step outside almost all the time, and it's just me doing weird angles in the small window above. I'm just, because I'm a lazy piece of shit. But I mean, like, I was feeling this woman's pain the entire time, because you're just like, God damn, just fucking work. Just fucking please work. Like 10 minutes have gone by. Please, I just don't want to go outside.
I'm probably like 20 feet from my car right now, so I don't have that pain.
This fucking guy.
This fucking guy. So sets off the car alarm.
Yeah, now she's going to the window. She's hanging like half out the window, feeling on the butt of the corpse, trying to get the phone out the pocket. But suddenly he comes around the corner. So she tries climbing back inside. Seems like she's going to get in just before he gets there. But when she slams the window, it gets his fingers. Owie!
Ooh.
That's what he says.
Just like that.
Just like that. Then she sees the hammer on the floor, so she lets go. He lifts the window. Then she grabs the hammer, sticks the claw in right into his forearm. And he goes, owie!
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 Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I love it when that happens.
It's that, it was, I like, it's just the thud. It's just that, like, I think also
Like, yeah,
the
get this fucking
wounds
guy.
that happen in this
give him a
fucking
little,
movie are just like raw, I guess would be the best way of putting it, where you just go like, oh fuck, oh my god, oh god. Like every time someone got fucked up, I didn't have this like, I was like, oh god.
So to your point, Brian, about the like, yeah, give it to this guy. I didn't come back to it till the next day. Because I was like, I just need to reset myself.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so when that happened, I was like, all right, cool. So it's not just going to be him fucking with her like relentlessly.
Yeah. Yeah. And he also shows like the wound off essentially too after he pulls the hammer out of it. So that's why it's a little more raw and
Totally
gross.
It almost it starts evolving to like a match of wits. You know what I mean? Like he's obviously like once he realizes that she has fight in her, then this becomes this weird dynamic for the bolt. Like obviously, like he said, at any time he could just crash through and try to finish this off. But like to him, this is such an elaborate game. Like he's hunting basically. You know what I mean? So it's like he's getting the most enjoyment out of it. And I think that's one of the most sadistic parts about this too, is that like, oh my God, he's getting hurt, but he's also kind of enjoying the entire experience. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, definitely.
A worthy opponent, a worthy prey. Yeah. So he bandages himself up by cutting off part of the dead neighbor's shirt. And then he shows Maddie that he has the neighbor's phone, and he takes an earring off her and like sticks it in his pocket. And he's doing all this, looking at her, like trying to be creepy. And I think she realizes he's kind of getting off on it because she just turns around and walks away without looking at him.
Yeah.
It's like, I think he's got a stiffy.
Right. Well, I think what's kind of cool about
Owie!
her character, and she does it a few times throughout the movie, is that like it's not obviously not not the classic in a lot of respects, like final girl, as in like she's got moxie throughout the entire thing, as in like she knows that like he's getting enjoyment out of this, so like just neutering that by like, I'm just gonna fucking walk away from you and then like work on the next thing, or like active, you know what I mean? Like I like that she's just kind of just like, fuck you, I'm not gonna, like, you know, you're not getting the enjoyment
right,
out of this.
totally.
She does seem to always
that's exactly
actively
what
be
she's
doing stuff or responding to the situation in some sort of manner that isn't infuriating, at least in my opinion. So like as you said there, walking away from him, like being like, or trying to figure out, hey, I'll use the car alarm to distract him so I can go and get the phone.
Yes.
Like using some sort of critical thinking skill.
Absolutely.
I have one big one that'll come up later. That's really my only complaint in that department, as far as like choices and stuff. He starts circling the house, and she waits for a moment to sneak outside. She hides under her porch, and while she's down there, she puts her hand up on the deck so she can feel the vibrations of him walking up there to know what's going on. She tries to run, but he almost hits her with an arrow with his crossbow. Hits a tree, and she decides to run back in the house, and he almost gets her again right before she gets inside.
And I do like the fact she was breathing heavy and then realizes, like, 3 or 4 breaths in, where she's like, and then like covers her like, oh fuck. Like, just because I can't hear it doesn't mean that he can't hear it.
Now she goes upstairs and she's watching him some more out the window. This is when she is climbing out the second floor window escape. And like, here's something like, she starts uncranking the window and it's creaking. You know what I mean? There's no way she would know. Or when she's like tiptoeing along the roof, like to somehow make a sound or knock something down, like give her position away. It doesn't happen once, and you think like it bothers me. So here again, though, she's doing something clever. She's got a flashlight with her. She goes to like the end of like a flat part of the porch roof, throws it off into the woods. He hears the sound, sees the light, goes off towards that. So, she's going to try and escape again. But just when she seems safe, plunk, arrow in the leg. Yep. Exactly like that. She's now hiding on the roof, like, so he can't get her with that crossbow. And she pulls the arrow out of her leg.
I like that in the, because he shoots her in the leg and then goes up, and then he shoots a second time. And from his perspective, it looks like it got her in the head, but she was able to dodge it. So as he goes up the actual, what the hell are those things?
Once he climbs up, it's like a trellis.
Yeah, he's thinking there's going to be a corpse up there, and then him being very unpleasantly surprised when she's
the way she dodged that would have been like all abs. There's no way her reaction time would have been that good to like bend backwards and not just duck backwards. You know what I mean? She matrix dodges that
totally.
thing.
It would have been pretty. It would have been pretty interesting.
She works the core.
It would have been pretty interesting though to have a wound, as in like she dodged it, but it still nicked her,
like grazed her. So this is actually my big beef with the movie: is he climbs up and she like punches him and takes his crossbow, where she has an arrow in her hand and he's climbing up and doesn't know she's alive. She could have stabbed him in the neck, shoulder, face, eyeball, chest, anywhere. You know what I mean? But she punches him, and that really bothers me. I'm like, come on, Maddie. She's so smart with fucking everything else. It's not like it's still stuck in her leg. She could have her wait to pull it out of her leg. You know what I mean? But because in my head, I'm like, great, she's got this arrow, and it's like fucking when you punch Ghostface with a knife.
Yes.
Like,
it's like you like at least at a minimum, like stab his hand or do
anywhere.
No, I get that. I get
sure. Yeah, makes sense.
But that's my only like complaint with her logic and things she does. Other than that, very sound. I would agree. She makes it back inside safely just before he gets to her once again along the roof. Now she crawls in the bathroom and treats her leg wound, and this goes on for a while, because let me tell you, it was like a minute before I had to take another note. It's like they really put a lot into this leg wound treatment. Right. It's very dramatic. She's got to bite something to keep from breaking her teeth, I guess. I always thought that was a yelling thing, but obviously it's not the case here.
To bite down on, Although I would have liked to have a little bit of a payoff of like all of this going on and then him watching her do this. You know what I mean? Like, because you get other hints of that.
Well, he does, because he's about to right now.
Oh, that's right. Because when she tries to do in the air.
She's got the crossbow, and she sees the 13 notches in the side of it which seems like,
13
victims, we would
Yeah.
assume.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's trying to pull the bow back, but it's really hard to do, and it's hurting her hands.
You're right.
And he's standing right outside the window watching her.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
I
so
always
easy,
just disassociated that, where like I always felt that he walked up while she was doing that and not watched her while she was addressing the wound and everything. But it makes more sense that he was just like stalking her while she was just doing it.
Yeah, we don't know how long he was there, but it's all in the same scene.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, the neighbor's husband is here. He's looking for the neighbor. Batty runs up pretending to be a cop, quick on his feet. They have a tense little scene. It's, they're kind of suspicious of each other.
Cat and mousey. Can I get my phone? Back, please?
Yeah, and when the guy gives his phone back, the bad guy, the earring falls to the ground.
Yes.
The wife's earring. Now, question for you guys. Be honest.
Okay, answer for you.
If you saw an earring fall to the ground, would you know whether or not it was your wife's earring?
Yes.
Okay. Depends on the type of earring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there are specific earrings that my
There's
wife
like a
wears.
few I know, but we got a tree of those.
No,
things.
totally.
My wife typically just wears the same earrings and they're tiny little silver things, so I probably wouldn't even see it fall.
That's fair.
So if she was wearing like a special earring, I've probably gotten her most of her special earrings, so I think I know what those are.
So you would.
Right.
Just, a separate thought I had while watching.
And you would not?
I know, almost certainly not, unless it
was
before we went out, she was like, these ones are these ones.
Right.
I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I'm sure there's plenty that I don't know about that could randomly have been worn one day because she felt like it.
Right.
Hey, I found these again. This pops out like, okay, this dude just dropped an earring. Oh, here's your earring. You should drop this.
Right. He's a deputy, I guess a plainclothes deputy. You see a lot of those, right?
It's my first call.
I know
he took my gun.
Does he have like a tactical type of vest over his hoodie? Is that?
I can't tell exactly.
Can't really tell.
It looks like it definitely maybe has some pockets on it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if it has more than the normal amount of pockets, it can start to look official.
It's pretty tactical.
Yeah. He's got a hint of militia to his attire.
You can touch it all over the place. Very tactical.
I mean, I'd be a little bit suspicious of the neck tattoo.
One thing I did notice is when he's first talking to him, he's like, it's almost like he's deliberately showing him the side that doesn't have it.
Sure.
And then a little later in the conversation is when you finally see it.
Totally. Well, I think it's also kind of interesting too, between the dialogue between the husband and the killer, is that like he's sizing him up the entire time, and both of them are respectively, but like you can clearly tell that this dude is sizing this husband up and realizing that there is no way he's going to be able to fight this guy. So now he's just trying to
he's like, you jock?
Yes.
Look like a linebacker type.
And he's like, he's trying to squirm his way out of this scenario, or at least lull him into some kind of like false sense of security.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. When he showed up, I was like, at least we got another body coming in.
Right. Well, it's actually not to, because it happens pretty soon after this, but like now is that
my next note.
Yeah. So like basically like he's got the rock. He's about to fucking hit this guy in the head because he gave him like the full. Oh, yeah. Go.
That's exactly the note. Husband tells Batty there's a spare key in a planter so he can secretly hit him with a rock. But when he's about to get him, Matty bangs on the window and the linebacker quickly gets stabbed in the throat.
So going back to, I feel that like this was her blunder. You know how it's like obviously non-auditory where like something would crash or something would creak or something like that, is that like she has no context of the dialogue that's going on outside and she sees both of them. So like to have her bang.
You think if she could hear, she want to run up and bang on the window to try and warn him?
I mean,
I feel like that's just, otherwise, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't think she would necessarily, I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
not.
maybe I think I don't know how, I don't know the acoustics of the place, but maybe like normally could you hear a conversation going on outside? So if you're hiding in the outside that house, like you're like, do I hear people talking outside as, she's creeping through or it changes things. I think you would be able to hear people talking outside of your house, right? If you could normally hear.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends on your house. You know what I mean? They could probably, you could probably hear a little bit of that. They weren't close enough. Those windows seemed pretty thick. He had a trouble breaking
I feel
them.
like in this situation, like changing the fact that she can't hear, if I can hear and we're in this kind of same position at this point, I know I'm being home invaded. I'm hiding in this room trying to fucking tend to my wounds. I think maybe
Opening
you would
the
be
door
able to
and
hear
yelling
someone.
to
So then,
them,
like,
or like yelling to.
well, no,
yeah.
like I would hear something going outside. So then maybe I would approach it a little bit more cautiously and maybe start listening. And I'm just trying to think of like,
Well, she's
would
clearly
I-
watching them. You know what I mean?
Well, actually,
yeah, I guess I don't know how much you can ascertain from.
yeah, because I always
I don't
implied
know.
it that she was hiding and then saw him and then just immediately ran up to the window and banged on it. Like she wasn't observing this entire interaction between the two of them.
Oh, I
You know what I mean?
thought
Right.
of it as like that guy's a fucking killer, like like a warn,
Right.
like her trying to warn him.
Right. I know that. I figured that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's like how much was she observing? Like she immediately saw, she was.
Totally. I think it's that, yeah, but it's also like, it's what
Hard to say.
But I think it's
Right.
also like, I think in doing the other auditory things of like something breaking or something like that, that would help out the killer in locating her. She winds up helping the killer out because he even admits, he goes, dude, I'm so glad she got there because on a hand-to-hand combat, I would have fucking lost to you. You know what I mean? Like,
But that's still so much weaker. Like you really got to connect the dots and try and make it work that somehow her deafness like it still caused somebody else's death, that she never put herself in any danger from it, which I guess you could say is like, oh, hey, they're not making it like a thing, but like why make the character deaf if there's not like problems that come from it
Sure.
other than her not noticing the killer right away. I mean, there's smaller things, but you get what I mean. Like, I don't know, I want it,
yeah.
and I don't think that's even close to what I want. Gets his throat stabbed, starts bleeding out. Bleeding guy tries to put up a fight. He almost chokes him out, but
It's just so fucked up to be like, hey, dude, no, it's okay. You're done. Like, just, you're done. I killed you.
well, and why didn't Maddie run out when he's like does have him in a chuckhold? She's got hammers, knives, arrows. Go make that guy a pincushion.
Like go and attack the guy.
Yeah, while he's being choked out by.
Well, this is also
bleeding
what
guy.
sparks the multiple endings thing. So, like, she
Right.
does. So,
Yes,
this is kind of like.
because the
yeah.
next thing that happens is Maddie decides to escape from the back of the house and gets killed. Smashed up. But it was all in her head. One of her voices that helps her write her stories. And now we get into that whole
Yeah.
thing.
The
Right.
choose your own adventure version of, you know.
hmm She's talking to the voices in her head, plotting her escape. They conclude the only thing she can do is kill him. That's all I wrote about it. So you seem to really like it. I didn't know if you want to expand more on it.
Well, it does kind of like it goes from like escaping to like, well, if I escape, he's going to kill me. If I try resetting the power, you have no idea if he cut the wires or he just turned off the breaker, so that might not fucking work. I could hide, but I'm going to bleed out by the time anybody
I
actually
can hide under the thing, but I've already done that, so he finds me. I found it also to be a clever way of giving us a body count as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Of-
just to give us another kill.
multiple kills.
well, just a few
Yeah.
different kills. Because I mean, once we get into this, we see, I mean, a few different ways
Do
that
we?
she gets killed or she's dead in different various ways that she's coming up with all these different ideas. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That gives us more body count as well as she's trying to work
I
out
didn't
this
even
situation.
notice. I don't like this part. That's why I wish it had been there more, because I'm like, oh, let's shoehorn this in real quick.
Well, I thought it was interesting and clever to make it so that the movie wasn't just like this horrible thing of like watching this woman get tortured, that she was able to come up with the way to get out of it and ultimately survive it.
Yeah. Because this is almost like, oh God, with the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, where it's like it's breaking the entire scenario down and like every plausible thing that could happen.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I enjoy that we get that a few times throughout the movie
That's true.
in Sherlock Holmes.
Well, she's more of an ending writer.
Sure,
Yeah, it's
but
all
her
about the
end
ending.
could have come much earlier. She didn't know. So she's doing her story. She's like, all right, can't escape him. The only thing I can do is kill him. Batty's walking around outside and the cat finds him. And he's like, well, I'll use this as bait for Maddie. You're going to work great. He's about to say nail her to the door. I love that even the cat bitch on what I like about the name tag. And when we find out that that's the cat's
The name is,
for real name, is I like that the cat has a 555 number so nobody can try and call.
Because
Oh, that's good.
I guess technically that would be Maddie's number, not the cat's number. You don't put your dog's phone number on your animal tag.
you could.
If he gets lost, just call him. He'll be fine.
He's got a cell.
Yeah.
Just as he is about to pick up the cat, plunk, arrow to the shoulder.
Nice.
It's plunk.
She scrambles back inside and reaches out for the fallen arrow, and he slams the sliding glass door on her arm.
God damn.
That's gotta hurt.
Ouchie!
Ouchie.
Like-
Another ouchie moment.
And if you thought that
Yeah.
hurt, wait till he stomps on her hand out there and
Holy
really just digs
fuck.
into it.
Like
Double
when he
ouchie
breaks her
moment.
wrist in the door, it was like, God damn it. And then when he starts stomping, it's like, fuck. And then when she pulls
And
it,
the sound design on the
it's
crunching.
so good. It's so good.
Crunchomatic.
The opposite of Chris New Year's Evil. I love the Foley artist in this. This Foley artist should get
I was about to, yes.
The-
Good to know. Good to know.
But like when she's
Incidentally,
lurching,
same guy. Learn from their
learn
mistakes.
from their mistakes. He's the same dude, man.
It's like 25 years later, 30
The
years later.
fucking pullout of her hand and the fucking finger snapped and bent all,
like
fucked up.
snapped in different ways.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a few of
Oh
them.
yeah,
right?
it's a whole. They're all going different directions.
All of them.
All of them are going the ways they shouldn't.
Yep. Not one figure looks right. I'll tell you that. But she gets back in, locks the door, and he tells her, now's the time. I'm coming in. She gets up and gets some blood on her finger and writes, do it.
Do it.
Coward, coward,
on the window.
Do it.
do it.
And yeah, he doesn't move. And so she writes coward below it to, really stick it to him. It's part of her whole, like, I see your game and I'm going to mess with you.
Yeah.
So he starts breaking through the window. He's smashing it with a tire iron, but they're really fucking thick, apparently. This is built for like a hurricane.
Thick. Them windows thick.
Thick glass.
God damn, girl, them windows thick.
What does that even
He,
mean?
You know,
I do.
talking hurricane proof, baby. All right. She runs to her manuscript, starts writing down a description of him in her manuscript as he's coming in, case she dies. Then she holds up in the bathroom with a knife facing the door while we're watching her look at the door and we see like glass fall behind her. So we know he's coming in behind her, sneaking in. Great.
Sneaking.
Then he's behind her, says some scary stuff to her. That's all I wrote. I don't remember. Threatening. And then lets out a deep breath that she feels on the back of her neck. And she turns just in time to dodge his blade and stab him in the leg.
Yeah. And he says the titular line, right?
He does, yes. Oh, he said the thing. He said the title of the movie. Oh, he did that.
He didn't really,
No,
did he?
didn't.
No.
Okay. The way Ross yes-anded it, I was like, oh, did he?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. We were really playing off
Maddie-
each other.
I was like, man, this is another thing I missed.
Well, he's also Gallagher's kid, so.
Well, that's what Gallagher does, right? Maddie's in rough shape now. She
Yeah.
can barely
No,
walk
okay.
and is losing her vision. Patty gets up looking for her, finds her slumped over in the kitchen. She sprays him in the eye with wasp spray.
That'll get you.
As he reels from that, she grabs the deaf person fire alarm. And we're all like, finally, this is going to be a fucking weapon. I've been waiting 70 minutes for this. But she just kind of harasses him with it for a minute and then drops it. And he starts beating her. He's kicking her on the ground, beating her up, gets on top of her, starts choking her. It's a pretty cool looking shot, looking up at him with his eyes red and the strobe flashing.
His eyes are very irritating.
Yes, they are. And
He did not rinse them immediately.
as she's choking out, we can hear her heartbeat slowing down. We get like flashes of her life before her eyes, child pictures
Rough.
and stuff.
Fucking rough.
And just when she seems to be dead, she manages to grab the corkscrew on the ground she'd been trying to get, sticks him right in the neck. And here's some good Foley work.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so I've seen quite a few. I mean, we've all seen action movies where someone uses a corkscrew and just fucking like stabs someone. I've never seen an entry exit wound. Like, it's always stuck in. It never pokes out the other side. So having this dude's like Adam's apple throat just fucking stabbed out, and it's just going on either side. I was like, whoa, goo.
That was
I
like,
didn't
dope.
notice it was both sides.
I was like, get him. Let him bleed out.
Yeah. Also,
I was like, oh, good. This must be coming to an end.
I also did find this kill really funny because I was like, bro, you just got choked out by the jock husband no less than like 20 minutes ago that like had the same neck wound. You're not going to choke this woman to death like before you die. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, don't even try.
Well, he doesn't, right? Doesn't he like doesn't she get up after she gets him in the neck?
No, she's still down. He literally like is still choking her and then like slowly lurches forward and then drops dead and then rolls over.
The sound of him trying to breathe, I thought was really good. My son sounded like that for like 4 days last week. We were nebulizing every 4 hours.
You were erasing his memory every 4 hours?
Yeah. Till he learns to breathe again.
They nebulized, right?
Yeah. She gets her phone from him and dials 911 before collapsing, which I meant to look up like how 911 works in the age of cell phones. Like, if you just call and they can't hear anything, are they going to come check out what's happening pretty immediately?
I would assume so.
Or how are they able to know exactly where it is? Like,
oh, they fucking know, man.
Well, because they have like the like they can ping the cell phone between like.
Oh, they're pinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that didn't have like that. Wasn't that precise? I don't know.
Realistically, even.
Although I guess with where she is, there's only so many options.
Absolutely, but also the fact
be.
of that fucking fire alarm blowing up on her thing is if they figure out what her address is.
They know that's coming on that end. But they get there quick. They figure it out very quick. Because it shows all the corpses after she collapses, but then Maddie gets up, walks out on the porch, sits with her cat, and we see sirens arriving, police, EMS, whatever they are. We just see sirens on her face. She kind of half smiles. Credits.
She's got her ending.
You guys got any final thoughts before we go to the crematorium?
No,
I can continue them over there.
Dope. Let's do it. Let's do the crematorium.
Let's do the crematorium.
Of
Would
questions.
we survive it? Sorry, I'm stepping all over you.
Tell me. You tell me.
Slamming your hand at the door and kicking your fingers all out of place.
You are. Yeah, how would we survive? I mean, if the shuttle bus gets stuck somewhere and this guy's trying to kill the three of us would definitely survive.
Yeah, that guy was worried about taking that one dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we'd move on.
You guys are brolic. You take him. I'm just
you're the one still. You're the one.
No,
that
man, you're
works out
brolic.
still.
Hardly.
No, you're brolic.
No, you're brolic, bro.
Ross, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Yeah, that's a very odd thing.
Can you hear me now? Okay, great.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yes. Finally, it wasn't me.
Okay, so I feel like we would survive. Unfortunately, this guy's got a goddamn fucking crossbow. So I feel like
It's even better. He gets one of us and the other two.
That's what I'm saying. Is that one of us will die.
No, you know how hard it is to kill somebody with a crossbow? Did you not hear the voices in her head at the end of that movie we just watched?
So I probably go out to pee and then get stuck. And then just be like, oh, God, guys.
Why are you going outside to pee?
You know that there's a killer out there, right?
Excuse me.
We have multiple bathrooms in this house.
I only pee on grass.
I can't.
You know what I'm saying?
go.
The shuttle bus. We're in the shuttle bus. I
It was
gotta
a
get out of
really
the
hard
bus.
time.
I'm picturing us in a circle
right.
in the shuttle bus.
Also has a
I
toilet.
figured
I'm
we've
just
taken
gonna
the
say.
bus
To the house.
We've taken the bus to this house, but if we're defending the bus from him getting in, do you know the defenses
No,
the
that's
bus
true.
has? There's no.
We
have
can't
to be off the
we
bus.
can't give
About
him
it,
away
actually.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll
But,
be
if
fine
we're
on
in
the
the
bus.
house-
Yeah, we got to be in the house. Otherwise,
We'll be okay on the bus. But yeah, I think one of us is at least getting a little bit. It's all
I'm
going to
not
depend on
saying
the
we'll
luck
be
of the shot.
uninjured. Yeah,
Exactly.
But I
someone's getting
think-
shot with an arrow.
We'll go with at least 2 of us live. More likely, all 3 with one of us being injured.
Yeah, for sure.
Haha, suck it, man.
Suck
The
it, the man.
How do you make the film gooier?
I mean,
Give the jock some more goo. Maybe slit his throat. Have it open up some.
have be an actual like
Yeah.
slit as
I mean,
opposed
I
to
like
the
the
stab.
goo in it.
Yeah.
I think if we had obviously just more of a body count, you know what I mean? Because I mean, you're only
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know
Sure.
what? How you said we get more kills with the multiple scenarios she plays out.
Have them be
Give us
bloodier
more-
kill.
yeah,
Exactly. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the way to do it. I don't know if it needs to be. I think making it any more than that just changes the tone.
Mhm.
I don't mind the tone of it. Maybe that'd make it. I mean, if you keep the guy's mask on and make it gorier and bloodier and goofier, I think you like it better.
Probably. Yeah. I was
Realistically,
thinking
yeah.
about that too, Ross. Because you were like maybe about like I think if it being scary or something like that, and it just makes me like feel bad. It's not like because there have been a couple movies where either while I'm watching I feel creeped out, or even a couple afterwards where I'm like checking the locks or something like that, and I never had any of those feelings watching this. It was just more like I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like the way I feel
totally.
watching this.
Well, I feel
Anti-cockle.
which I get because I mean I feel like not sometimes, but I mean we go to movies for certain levels of escapism, and I feel with like a home invasion, particularly like this one, shy of the none of us have hearing impairment, but like the idea of someone random acts of violence and then just someone breaking into your home to hurt you is a more plausible thing versus
Totally.
like a fucking alien attack or wet boy dry boy Jason, you know what I mean, where like it's it limits the entertainment through disassociation.
And I think maybe focusing on one person's victim for the whole time that you're constantly kind of fucking with, which I guess it's weird. So like say Scream, obviously Sydney's always the victim or the main person, but he's home invading a bunch of people and killing them. But it'd be like if you just took the opening scene and made it a whole movie.
Yes.
I don't
Well,
really
still,
know how to...
Scream still feels like a traditional slasher with this
Totally.
masked villain taking
Right.
out teens or whatever it is type of thing. This feels so much more rooted in a real world scenario, especially when the killer, for me, like kind of Ross said, when the killer takes his mask off and it's just this human dude who's going out killing, like that does puts a certain, I guess, ick you could say on it, because it does make it so much more real, in my opinion, that it does feel like this is so much more gross that this person's torturing this woman like this. But I think, I don't know why I understand that level of it for sure. It doesn't hit as hard for me at that. I think I like the ick that it makes me feel in, because I don't feel like it puts it too far as like a martyr situation or a fucking Ghostland,
honestly,
whatever that
I'd
shit
probably
was.
find this ickier than Martyrs. Whatever
That's-
that ick is. Which again, it's just, for whatever reason, obviously Martyrs is more extreme, but I don't know. It is what it is.
I mean, I guess, I just don't feel like, I feel like Martyrs is more exploitative, and this, I don't feel the exploitation of this movie in terms of just watching it to, I don't know. I feel like weird people might watch Martyrs because they like watching a woman get beaten, tortured. I don't feel like I don't know. Someone gets, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what it
could
is.
get that
I don't know
from
why.
this for
I don't
sure,
why.
though.
Yeah, you could, I guess. Sure.
but
that's
not the
I don't
same.
know.
It's not as extreme.
What question are we
Villain
on?
level 1 through 10. Power level, iconography. Put them together, get your total.
I mean, power level. This guy's what, like
one and a half to a 2
at most.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
because
even give him a 2.
you give them weapons, so 1.5.
Well, when half
power
the
level.
victims, not half, a third of the victim, no, half, half the victims in the movie, he's like, there's no way I would have been able to take you down. Like, that immediately to me is like, you're a 1, but you're a confident 1, but you're still like a 1 or a 2.
I mean, he's presumably killed 13 people before or whatever,
That's true.
according to his tally marks. But from what I see, about a 1.5 in his iconography, I'd say the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the mask, but it's not like iconic within anything. The world, like if you tell someone to name an iconic home invasion mask, they're gonna go to the Strangers or something different. They're not going to this one immediately.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So 3. 3 out of 10.
I'm giving him a 3. Damn the man.
Yeah, works for me.
I bet.
Should it have a sequel? What's your sequel? Yeah, it does. Fuck that guy.
A sequel, huh?
Yeah.
Should it? Okay, well the sequel, it's
it's called Little Baby.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
And it is a blind and deaf woman with a baby have to hide from this guy who's trying to kill both of them in his house. And he lived, it turns out. He got away. So it's the same guy, new people.
Just badly injured.
Mm-hmm.
He has like a Dewey limp.
Yeah. So it gives him a little, uphill battle as well.
I'm going to continue. Okay, so you have that. I'm going now. It's Hush 3 continues the story. So from whatever happened to him, he's still surviving. It just becomes this fucking ridiculous series of this man trying to home invade subsequently and becoming more and more terrible at it, and getting his body destroyed.
More and more permanent damage.
Mine is a prequel, and it's called Huh? And it's just him lost in the woods for 2 hours.
Classic.
Going between lake houses because they're.
But for real, like if I was gonna do classic, if I was gonna do a for real one, I wonder. Okay, I would actually make the.
No, that's your for real one.
That's what I got to do.
It's already being made
because there's 13 notches in it.
We can make that.
I really would have enjoyed like a prequel where like he wasn't a serial killer, but he was a mass killer. As in like the 13 people happened that day. So it's like the day leading up to Hush. You know what I mean? So like you actually get to see him as a slasher, quote unquote, for the sequence of the entire movie.
Mm-hmm. Do you think because we got to see him, or do you think he notched Sarah in after he killed her, or are there 14 victims?
That's a really good point. I don't know. I'm assuming after the deed is done, he'll take because he took
quickly. He's like
he took the trophy.
Or maybe he waits to do it at home.
Well, that's true.
He did take a trophy, exactly. Once you get to 13 or 14, I don't know if it makes that big of a difference.
Start losing count.
It's a lot of earrings,
but
yeah. Would you buy the soundtrack or score on vinyl?
You mean just the sound of an ultrasound machine in the background?
I'm good.
Yeah,
is anything action figure worthy? If you were a fan, I could see having the guy with the removable mask and his whole setup. But
I think honestly,
I don't want him.
I wouldn't want it, but I feel like a diorama of her against one side of the indoor with the double-sided or the double doors, and then him on the outside. So like he's peering in and she's like looking over her shoulder.
Bookends.
There you go.
Actually
bookends.
Really good.
Hush bookends.
Yeah.
So,
promotional
it's a promo
yeah.
item. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I went and saw Hush, and I got these bookends,
dude. They're so cool.
And I like
the movie. Oh, it's a home invasion horror movie.
I like the way you phrased it, Brian. So I'm going to go with that for our last one is what is the popcorn bucket, and bonus points if you can make it fuck.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's interesting. I I didn't think about
Gotta
it
be
too
a
hard on
house
this
that
one.
you gotta like break the top off.
You break into the house to get to the popcorn.
Yeah, it's like closed. Yeah, once they put the lid on.
But it's not popcorn.
Yeah.
It's just an...
Because I'm trying not to use a head again,
Yeah.
but I think that works.
Here's the
That was a
caveat,
pretty good
though,
one.
is that you break into the top end of the house, and there isn't popcorn. There's just an ear of corn. It's an ear to hearing. An ear of corn. No, okay.
Oh, I get it. Damn it. Woo. Took me a minute.
All right, well, it's time to stick our hands outside that sliding door and see how many are getting crushed for this one.
I only want your fingers.
Should we all, cut our fingers open and bleed on it?
Can you wrap your fingers around this?
I'll take a Voorhees burger and a side of Jason's fingers.
Show them.
On this show, we like to use a rating scale of 0 to 5 fingers. Each finger represents a different quality about a movie. You can chop off half a finger as well as no fingers. These ratings are intended to be subjective on how we feel about a movie. Doesn't matter if the movie is objectively good or bad. When do you guys want me to go? First or last?
Should we just have him go first
go
and get this
first,
out of the way?
All right. Engaging. The old engagerino. I mean, I had to disengage from it the first watch I had, so I guess that's pretty engaging.
Yeah.
Though, you know what I mean? It's like it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. I'm not gonna discredit it for that.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
I see.
Sticky. To be honest, well, I guess I'll give it a 0.5 because I think I'll remember it's a deaf woman home invasion, and that I hated it. So I'll remember it for those reasons. That's enough to get a bit more than a 0.25, which is what I was thinking.
Yeah, true.
T-shirtable's a 0, obviously. No way. Cockles.
Goose. Oh.
Yeah, but I'm going to give it a 0.5
Anti-cockles.
because you think it'd be like a negative something, but I feel like it still had a cockle reaction, even if it was a bad one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
I
like
totally get
it
that.
deserves points for making me dislike it, I guess. And rewatchable's also a 0, which gives it a 2. Seems high.
Dope.
I'm going to drop that sticky down to 0.25 so that it can get under a 2. 1.75. Which is good. Cool. Right on.
Cool.
Brother.
Hell yeah, brother Pooh.
Yeah, Brother Pooh.
Hell yeah.
And you know, it's funny. Looking at this, I gave The Purge a 1.75 as well. I really enjoy The Purge a lot more than this movie. You know what I mean? I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I guess if anything, it's less interesting. You know what I mean? It's just kind of dull. Conceptually, there's cool stuff. Anyway, moving on. We'll save the Pickers movie for last. So Rybran.
Okay. Sure. Engaging. I'll go ahead and give it a 1. I am engaged. I watch it, look at it, and stay looking at it. Sticky. I'll give it a 1 because it does. It's stuck with me. I've always remembered this movie. It's felt very strong for me. The concept. I guess maybe I didn't necessarily. I did forget about a few things here and there, but I'm giving it the 1 for the sticky because T-shirtable. I don't know, a 0.5 because I would definitely represent the movie because I do like it, but like there's not that much cool imagery.
Hard to even
so,
think of a cool shirt, really.
Exactly. That's tough to figure out that. But I'm sure Ross's head is percolating something good, so I'm excited. Cockles, I feel like I gotta give it the 1 because I do enjoy this movie because of the bad feelings it gives me, but it does give me that a terrible sense of like, yeah, this guy sucks, but I feel like the payoff was worth it for me. And I guess my suspenders were on tight for this
Your
one.
your flannelgins.
Yeah, I put my flannelgins on. Like my flannelgin of disbelief was being held up with suspenders as well. Because like any of the kind of like big qualms that you had with it, like I just didn't, I guess, process or think about
and also,
too much. Or if I did, I kind of lent.
Right, exactly. Whereas I'm disliking it, so it stands out like it's a bigger thing for me.
Precisely. So rewatchable. I don't know. Let's give it 0.75 just because I feel strong about the movie. Give it 0.5. I think the 0.5 would actually be okay because that puts it right at a 4, which I feel like is a really good spot for that. I feel that's
the right spot.
Solid for me as well. Yeah.
Derp. Roosy Pooski.
Ooh. All right.
Oh yeah, Brother Pooski.
Brother Pooski. All right. Engaging. Engaging is going to get a 1 from me. I think I'm engaged every time I watch this movie. And I was heavily engaged the first time. Like,
if you know what I mean.
If you know what I mean. Well, I mean, just like it's been forever since I was like just yelling at my screen or just being like pacing around my house. You know what I mean? Like, for that, absolute kudos. Sticky is also, I think Sticky is definitely going to get a 1 because this movie does stuff that other home invasion movies don't. And I think it's the thing that like perked my interest. And I think it's the thing.
I'm glad you brought that up. What things does it do? Because as someone who's not really that familiar, and to me, this is the most home invasion-y movie of homemade invasion that we're doing. You know, this seems like the most,
you know, in a lot of respects,
traditional.
Like slasher and home invasion movies, like, or there are always a heavy amount of aspects of home invasion in slasher films. And when you approach like a home invasion movie that it's almost like it pretends to be a slasher up until the mask gets taken off. And then it's a like for real home invasion movie for me, where it's like, this doesn't make the illusions of like a nether creature or a, you know, like the Shape or something like that, where I'm like, this is just a fucking dude joy killing and taking his time with it. And it just, I don't know, it just hit a completely different key to me than other slashers or other home invasion movies. Cause like, I think when it's also proposed as, cause you see like the mask in the, you know, the poster and stuff.
Yeah.
like that
I'm
too.
sure the
So,
mask
like,
is probably used a lot promotionally.
Promotionally. And then when it's dropped, it's just that like, oh, wow. It's like a curtain dropped 20 minutes into the movie and the real movie started. And you're like, oh, shit. Okay.
Casey Becker just got killed.
Yes.
Drew Barrymore.
Exactly. You know, that's the feeling I got the first time watching it, where I was like, okay, so I'm going to take everything I thought about slashers and home invasion movies, and I'm just going to shuffle it into a different compartment and then just like watching it with fresh eyes. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, cool. I can go with that.
Yeah. I think because I was watching this in home invasion month, I never had the chance to think of it as being slashery, if that makes sense.
Totally.
I didn't see any advertisements. I didn't know about this masked guy. I didn't know anything. I was just like, here's my home invasion movie.
It's true. Yeah, that is true. It would be like, and not in the same extreme, but it's like we're doing vampire month, so we got to do From Dusk Till Dawn, but you've never seen From Dusk Till Dawn. So then you're like, oh,
sure.
So the...
And that was like the third vampire movie you've ever watched.
Yes. But it's
like I've seen Funny Games. I'm not sure what else I've seen. To be honest.
But it's almost to me like the twist is gone, because it's like, if I told you From Dusk Till Dawn is a vampire movie instead of like just watch this fucking movie. Like great example, like my wife had never seen From Dusk Till Dawn, so we just watched it casually. So when the twist at the titty twister happens,
and Robert Rodriguez takes over,
and like they're vampires, she literally stood up and went, "What the fuck am I watching?" You know what I mean? Like I think that was just amazing, and it's not to that degree, but like with this, where I was like, "Oh, so this is
this is the Till Dawn part."
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." Oh, go Brian.
No. I'll let you finish we're on your ratings.
Oh, okay.
What was your sticky?
Sticky's going to be a 1. Sticky's going to be a 1.
Okay.
T-shirtable. You know, dude, this is a hard one, because it's like,
sure,
I like the mask, and I think the mask is one of the most compelling parts of, say, what the shirt would be, but it's almost like false advertising of what the movie is. So it kind of like disengages me from wearing it. But if I was going to do, it sounds weird, I'd probably do like a 0.25, which is really low for me. But if there was going to be a shirt, I would almost have like the house from a distance and then that mask superimposed on top of it. So like the eye holes would be where like the windows would be
are.
Shit like that.
Too many windows, though.
But like have him like, I know it's way too many windows, but like him lurking, like so a shadowy figure in the, you know.
Okay, we can mock that up.
Maybe, something like that.
Available soon.
Soon on our Chuddle the Pod. Cockles. Oh, man. Cockles is going to get... I think Cockles is going to get a full 1 for me because it does hit it. It hits this node for me because like this is one of the realer horror movies about home invasion that I've seen, in my opinion. And it just hits so differently. And like you said, it's like it's Cockles in a bad way or still Cockles. So it's that weird like
right. Yeah. Where
it's like I enjoy it, but I also realize like it's a heavy fucking movie. You know what I mean? To me.
It's like Speak No Evil, which is one I like that you guys don't like.
Yeah,
has like a heavy bad Cockles feeling that I like the heavy bad Cockles feeling.
Exactly.
So I get what you're saying.
Totally. But it does kind of impair the rewatchable for me, where it's like rewatchable I feel is going to get like the 0.5 just because like it's a good ride, but it's not going to be something that like I could revisit this every few years. Like I don't have to watch it like every year. You know what I mean? Or like something that's going to be like in constant rotation.
So that gives you a 3.75. Does that feel right?
No, it should be a 4. So
let's kick up the t-shirtable because I think
t-shirt of 0.5.
You gave it so low was because you couldn't think of a cool shirt, but not if there
was a cool shirt.
If there was a cool one, you'd be into it.
Totally, it gets the 0.5 just because I feel if you do the mask, it feels like it's false advertising to what the movie is, but...
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, a 4 for me.
Yeah. So that kicks you to a 4.
Nice.
So 4 for Ross, 4 for Brian, 1.75 for me, which even, who knows, re-ratings might go down. Purge might go up.
Yep.
Because I feel like that should be like a, middle of the pack. But we're not here to talk about re-ratings. What does the club have to say?
The club has a few things. Madam Weird pops in saying, as I remember, I'd give it a 3.5. on her fingers. The story was good and entertaining. Can't think of anything I'd want on a t-shirt. Definitely was there with her going through the things. I know I've seen it at least twice. Mike from the Horror Junkies popped in. Engaging. 4.5.
He did his best.
We
appreciate you joining in.
Yes, I love it because it does still give a pretty good average of I feel how he feels about the movie.
Yeah.
But engaging 4.5. This movie is insane, original, and completely obliterates the viewer's perceived guesses. Having a character that is a deaf mute being invaded by an unknown killer is the type of story that keeps me glued to my seat. Sticky 4.75. Extremely memorable. I really cannot think of a movie that's main character is mute, deaf, and is being stalked and attacked. The writer aspect of this movie is incredible. Plus, there is a fluffy cat. T-shirtable, 3.5.
That I like.
That's true.
I'd buy a shirt with the dude's creepy mask if it was done well, but the movie has so many cool features that could be turned into merch. Honestly, there not being a Halloween mask made is a missed opportunity. Cockles, 4.5. I think I was yelling at my screen the first time I watched this because I wanted her to react. This is a heart-racing, suspense-filled horror movie. Rewatchable 4. I love this movie and rewatch it at least twice a year. Kate Siegel plays the role extremely well. John Gallagher embodies fear of living alone. And Mike Flanagan, once again, proves he is a true master of horror.
Ooh.
Pretty sure it's still in my top 5 and averages a 4.25 from Mike. So,
Yeah.
So
he loves it.
Yeah, he's on the top end.
Opposite of me on this movie.
Well, we're gonna go right on over
There's
to our
gonna
buddy
be more of that.
Scotty from Fun with Horror. Engaging 1. I was pretty engaged throughout the entire movie. Sticky 0.5. I've only seen it once and I remember the broad strokes, but I do think I need to revisit it. T-Shirtable, 0. Nah. Cockle, 0. I love Flanagan, but I had problems with this movie. It's never really had a place in the cockles of my heart. Rewatchable, 0. The only reason I want to rewatch it at all is because so many people seem to like it better than I did. Not Sam, so there you guys can go in your corner together.
Yay.
1.5 fingers, although probably would give this a 2.5 or 3 on Letterboxd. From what I remember, the movie has a lot of tension for me when the guy's mask came off. I remember wishing he kept it on longer.
And
I
Ross
definitely
brought
remember...
up-
enjoying the
big
first
complaint.
half more than the second half is what he says there. But thank you, Scotty. We got
Thank you,
witch
Scotty.
name going.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you, Scotty. Ricky Prejean, the witch occasion, pops in with engaging. 1, nothing but tension the whole time. When the homie took his mask off to show her he won playing no games, I actually scream emoji. Sticky. 1. Everything from the flan man be sticky. T-shirtable. 0.5. Maybe if there's a cool enough design, it could work, but meh. I think I'm glad to see we're all agreeing on the t-shirts here.
Yeah.
We're all like, there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
Cockles, 1. See engaging description. Rewatchable, 0.5. It loses something on a rewatch, but I'm definitely down to see it once in a while or with someone who hasn't seen it yet. That's 4 fingers in the grave on this sloppy banger. PSA, crossbows look neat, but are a horrible choice. Anything worth shooting is worth shooting at least twice without a reload. Heart.
Oh,
So there you go.
Words of wisdom.
Our witchy brethren comes in and says engaging 0.5, sticky 0, t-shirtable 0.5, cockles 0.5, a rewatchable 1. So 2.5 fingers sounds about right. Sam says, thanks everyone. And T-Boo also says, I haven't seen it. Or if I did, I don't remember it. So thank you, the witch Plavis there. And then we have
And
our
horror
average score.
junkies.
Horror Junkies.
And
Yeah,
Fun with
yeah.
Horror.
Fun with Horror. All the
those
podcasts.
guys.
We love
That
you guys.
chimed in.
Hush is
Yeah.
a 3.3 from us. So it sits right in the realms. There's a bunch of 3.3s. Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Friday the 13th, Part 8. Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Friday the 13th, The New Beginning. All 3.3s. The Menu, Chud, Club Dread right above it at 3.4. Right below it, Black Christmas and Castle Freak and Rec 4 at 3.2. Interesting.
Nice.
That's your company you're sitting in here.
Yeah, it's not bad. I like that.
It's yeah. I'm okay with this. I'm okay in the 3s.
It's funny, there's a 3.3 that's only that high because I have a high score on it and you two don't, which is A New Beginning. And this one is down to 3.3 because of me, and you two have higher scores.
Yeah, it's Sam a 5.
I really
for
like
New
messing
Beginning.
with the 3.3.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be
You
their
like playing in that world.
This is their hot tub. This is this number rating right here.
Beautiful. That's it.
Dope.
We know what you guys think, but if please still let us know what you think.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and haven't, we want to know everyone's thoughts on this stuff.
Comment on
jump into our
socials,
Discord.
jump on our Discord. Discord's the best place to do it. So we did it. We chuddled Hush. It is done. And that does it for the Chuddle Pod movie horror. We are done recording, so you're about to be done listening.
Home Invasion.
Home
Yeah,
Invasion.
Home Invasion. Thank you for listening, especially if you made it this far. Make
a
sure
list.
to follow us on Instagram / Threads if you want to stay up to date with the podcast. Follow at Ross Purvis on Instagram. You see his tattoos and his art.
Hey.
Buy art from him. Get tattooed from him if you're in the Central Florida area. And you can follow me, Chuddle the Sam, Brian Chuddle the Brian on Letterboxd if you want to see what movies we're into, what lists I'm making.
I made a list. I have a Home Invasion month list of all the Home Invasion movies I've watched.
Ooh,
There you go.
About 9 or 10 on there right now.
dang.
There's only one that I'm still interested in, which is Don't Breathe, because I've just wanted to see that for a while.
That's one of the ones I watched recently. It's on my list.
Ooh,
I watched it.
Nice. If you have any interest in the movies we are watching, oh yeah, I just said stuff about that. Jump in our Discord though. That's where things are happening. That's where the community is. We talk about this stuff. We have watch-alongs, share memes, talk about movies, music, have a good time, have a nice little group in there. So all that stuff, links, that's in the show notes. You can find it real quickly there. Thanks for listening. Love ya. Until next time, avoid the time loop.